All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle one of the biggest, most common headaches in UI development, making our apps look amazing on every single screen size out there, from the tiniest iPhone all the way up to the biggest iPad. And we're going to do it by truly mastering responsive design with auto layout.
So let me ask you something. You spend hours, maybe even days, getting a user interface just right. It's pixel perfect in your simulator, but then you run it on a slightly different device and the whole thing just breaks, right? It's a classic, super frustrating problem for pretty much all of us.
And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, we've got our masterpiece on an iPhone. Everything's lined up, the spacing is perfect. But look at the right. That's the exact same UI on an iPad flipped sideways. It's a complete disaster. You've got text overlapping, images stretched all weird, and some buttons might be pushed right off the screen. This is exactly the problem we're here to solve once and for all.
To really fix this, we need more than just a few tricks. We need a totally new way of thinking. It's a fundamental shift. It's not about pushing pixels around. It's about understanding the core philosophy of what makes a layout truly flexible.
This, right here, this is the golden rule. Seriously, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this phrase. Think relationships, not fixed sizes. This single idea is the key that unlocks absolutely everything else in auto layout. Once this clicks, the whole system just starts to make perfect sense.
So here's the deal. We have to move away from the old way of doing things. No more hard coding a button to be, at X coordinate 20, Y coordinate 50 with a width of 100 pixels. That's just so brittle. It breaks the second the screen size changes. The auto layout way is all about defining relationships. You tell a view how it should relate to the things around it, its parent, its neighbors, and you let the system do all the heavy lifting and the math for you.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy. That's great. But how do we actually do it? Let's get practical and look at the tools we can use to build these flexible UIs. This is your core toolkit.
We're going to walk through 4 essential building blocks. First, understanding what relative constraints really are. Then we'll harness the incredible power of stack views. After that, we'll talk about respecting something called intrinsic content size. And finally, we'll demystify how views hug and resist changes in space.
First up, relative constraints. So, instead of saying, hey, this button is 100 pixels wide, you define its relationship to the screen. You say, this button should always be 20 points from the left edge of the screen and 20 points from the right edge. See what happens? Now, no matter how wide that screen gets, the button resizes perfectly because you've described its relationship, not its fixed size. Next up is my absolute favorite, UI stack view. Seriously, this thing is your best friend when it comes to complex layouts. You just drop a bunch of views into a stack view, tell it if they should be vertical or horizontal, and boom, it handles almost all the spacing and alignment for you. It just dramatically cuts down on the number of constraints you have to manage yourself.
Now let's talk about a really clever concept called intrinsic content size. Basically, some views already know how big they want to be. A label, for instance, knows its perfect size based on the text inside it. An image view knows its size based on the image you give it. The trick here is to just let them be that size whenever you can, instead of forcing rigid width and height constraints on them. Let them be themselves.
Okay, this is where a lot of people get tripped up, but it's pretty simple when you think about it like this. Imagine you have 2 labels next to each other and there's extra space. Which one should stretch to fill it? That's content hugging. The label with a lower hugging priority is the one that will stretch. Now flip it. Imagine there's not enough space. Which one should get squished or cut off? That's compression resistance. The one with lower resistance is the one that shrinks. It's really just a way to tell auto layout how to settle fights over space.
Awesome. With that basic toolkit covered, we can now level up and move on to some more advanced techniques. This is all about making designs that are truly adaptive, designs that respect all of the modern stuff like notches, home indicators, and all that.
2 really key practices here. First, using multipliers to create proportional sizes, and second, and this one is totally non-negotiable, always constrain your content to the safe area, not the edges of the screen itself. This one simple thing automatically makes sure your UI isn't hiding behind the notch or under the home indicator.
And here is a perfect example of a multiplier. Instead of giving an image a fixed height, like 200 points, you can just say its height should always be 40% of its container's height. Now, as the parent view grows or shrinks, that image scales perfectly, always maintaining its proportions. This is so powerful for creating scalable designs.
So what about those times when you need a completely different layout? For that, we have size classes.
Just think of them as broad categories for screen space. An iPhone held normally has a compact width, while an iPad has a regular width. And you can use these classes to make really big, significant layout changes.
And this table shows a classic example. For a compact width device, like an iPhone, you might arrange your stuff in a vertical stack view. But when your app runs on a regular width device, like an iPad, you can automatically tell it to switch to a horizontal stack view. It's a fantastic way to make better use of all that extra screen real estate.
Okay, now, you can have the most beautiful constraints in the world, but if you don't test them, you're just flying blind. This step is absolutely critical. Please, don't wait until the very end to find out your layout is broken on half the devices out there.
And the great news is, the tools are built right into Xcode. Use that preview canvas. You can instantly check your layout on an iPhone versus an iPad, flip them from portrait to landscape. And please, don't forget to check how it looks with different font sizes using dynamic type. Catching an issue here takes a few minutes to fix versus hours of headaches later.
So let's bring this all home. What we've really been building here isn't just a set of coding rules, but a whole new mindset for how we should approach building user interfaces.
And here we are, back at our core mantra. Let's just say it one last time to really let it sink in. Think relationships, not fixed sizes. This is the foundation of every single scalable, maintainable, and future-proof UI you will ever build. And the payoff for adopting this mindset? It's huge. You get UIs that just scale effortlessly to new devices we haven't even seen yet. Your code becomes so much cleaner and easier to maintain. Your apps are basically future-proofed. And hey, let's be real. This stuff comes up all the time in system design interviews. Mastering this shows you really know what you're doing. So I'll leave you with this final thought. You've got the philosophy now, and you've got the toolkit. The only thing left is to actually apply it. So take a look at your current project. What's that one screen, that one component that always gives you trouble? Which part of your app will you make responsive first?